Hi, if you're not a fan of spending dozens of hours on TV shows, you're in the right place. Here's a recap of the first, and so far only, season of Daredevil, Born Again. And if you like saving time like this, hit that subscribe button. It helps us meet again. Let's dive in. Matt Murdock, a blind lawyer, is trying to rebuild his life after a string of tragedies. During a meetup with his friends Foggy and Karen, he overhears a conversation. Someone's out to kill Foggy. He tries to save him, gets there too late, and Foggy dies. In a moment of pure rage, Matt throws the killer off a rooftop, fully intending to end him, then disappears from his friends' lives. A year goes by. Meanwhile, Wilson Fisk, the former crime kingpin, steps back into the spotlight and announces he's running for mayor of New York. Matt returns to practicing law and manages to convict the man who killed Foggy. Yeah, turns out the guy survived, but things between him and Karen are now completely fractured. While Fisk puts on his clean politician act, Matt throws himself into rebuilding his law firm and his public image. At the same time, Fisk starts tightening his grip, blackmailing the police commissioner, and taking steps to remove anyone in his way. He's walking a tightrope between becoming a model mayor and reverting to the threat he used to be, and all of it's being watched closely by Daredevil, who seems to be waking up again. Matt shows up at work and Christine hands him a task. He's scheduled to speak in court tomorrow. The defendant? Foggy's killer. Karen appears in the courtroom just in time to hear part of Matt's speech. It's enough. The verdict comes in. Life sentence, no chance of appeal. Afterward, there's a cold conversation. Matt disappeared from Karen's life for a year, left her to grieve alone. She hands him a shard from the old Daredevil mask, the one he hasn't worn in a long time. He says putting it away didn't help. At home, while flipping something in a frying pan, he hears it on the news. Wilson Fisk is officially running for mayor. The internet blows up. Memes, jokes, admiration. Fisk is back in the spotlight. Matt heads to a meeting with Dr. Heather, a session Christine accidentally arranged. They meet under the pretense of needing therapy and unexpectedly click. Back at the office, Matt tells Christine to skip the setups from now on, but keeps the number anyway. In his office, Cherry's already waiting. Fisk is running for mayor! This is insane! Matt agrees, but unfortunately Fisk's paperwork is spotless, taxes paid, and his wife? A media darling financial guru. Matt decides it's time to face Wilson Fisk directly. At a diner booth, the old enemies trade pleasantries. One brings up how he tried to kill Matt, the other recalls drowning and attempts to put Fisk behind bars. But Fisk insists he's changed. Matt doesn't flinch. Break the law again, and I'll come for you. No more mercy. Fisk calmly replies, in my New York, clowns and masks don't get to run wild. Looks like costumes are his personal trauma. Maybe he just never fit into a Halloween outfit as a kid. After that, Matt heads to his date with Heather. At the bar, the TV blares the news. Fisk wins the election with 55% of the vote. It's official. New York has a new mayor. Vanessa asks for just one thing. Don't touch Matt. Fisk promises he's a changed man now. Matt lets it all go and kisses Heather. Christine was right. Some therapists are actually cute. Meanwhile, someone unknown defends a kid from gangsters. In the process, one thug gets thrown under a train. Turns out they were undercover cops. That's the first crack in the system. Over at City Hall, Fisk's secretary Sheila lines up meetings with key power players. Gotta build alliances. She urges him to make a public appearance with Vanessa, but he's not ready. He needs time. Problem is, time might already be gone. New York's buzzing again. Another robbery turns into a double homicide. While forensics work the scene, Fisk is in a cozy office discussing with Vanessa how to launder money through public projects. Murders? That's the commissioner's job. Fisk keeps his hands clean. Meanwhile, Matt is burning out fighting for justice. He finally drags the key witness into court. The accused is rattled. He saw cops beat down an unarmed man. But the witness, the same guy Matt saved on the way to court, is too scared to speak. He stays silent about what really happened that night. Matt has no choice but to withdraw him and grit his teeth. The office goes dead silent. No paper trail, no records, no receipts linking the witness to the police. Just frustration. That night, the only thing keeping hope alive might be a bottle of whiskey. But the next morning, Matt shows up in court with a surprise. As the defendant Hector tells his version, Matt drops a bomb. His client is actually the White Tiger, the masked vigilante who once struck fear into criminals and left behind a trail of rescued lives. The courtroom gasps, but instead of outrage, applause. People who were saved by the White Tiger show up and tell their stories. It's not a criminal record, it's a portfolio of justice. Flawed, sure, but righteous. The police attorney Hochberg tries to dismiss it, but it's too late. The court of public opinion outweighs his legal argument. The judge declares not guilty on all charges. The white tiger walks free. And Matt takes another step toward becoming himself again. Fisk doesn't like surprises. The second he hears about the court's decision, he summons journalist BB and unloads everything he's been bottling up. In his view, vigilantes aren't heroes. They're just masked killers, and they have no place on the streets of his city. And almost like the universe is proving his point, the white tiger gets gunned down, right on the street. Point blank. The killer leaves no casing, no trace. Just a symbol on his jacket, a white skull. It's clean. Professional. Matt's furious. He had just saved the man, and now he's gone. A hit? Revenge? A warning? No answers. And as usual, no one's looking for any. But the show doesn't let us linger in grief. The camera jumps back to the mayor. Fisk is desperately trying to salvage what's left of his relationship with Vanessa. Not as a politician, but as a man. Without her, he's nothing. And he knows it. Meanwhile, Matt's moved on to a new case. A guy's on trial for stealing 5 bags of popcorn. He's got a rap sheet a mile long, an attitude to match, and even mocks Matt's blindness. Bad move. Matt keeps it cool. A few precise jabs, a little empathy, and boom. The judge knocks the sentence down from 35 days to 10. All by the book. All with a human touch. Out in the hallway, a familiar face waits, a cop clearly connected to the white tiger's murder. He lies to Matt's face. But Matt hears the truth in his heartbeat. Fisk is cooking up bigger plans. A new port, big money, a clean sweep of crime. But his secretary urges caution. In politics, you don't kick down the door, you learn to turn the handle. Then one reckless night blows everything up. Daniel, a young idealist under Fisk's wing, drinks too much and spills some state secrets to his journalist girlfriend. By morning, headlines scream, "The mayor is trash." It spreads like wildfire. Fisk is livid. But when Daniel comes clean and swears loyalty, Fisk doesn't fire him. He just says don't let it happen again. But trust? That's already cracked. Matt, meanwhile, can't let go of Hector's death. He returns to the scene, and with his razor-sharp senses, finds what no one else did, a shell casing. He brings it to the one man who knows bullets better than anyone, Frank Castle, the Punisher. The reunion is tense. Frank's not thrilled to see him. He's been out of the game for a while. And the shell? It's marked with his old insignia, but Frank swears it wasn't him. Just some wannabe using his brand. The conversation goes south fast. Frank brings up Foggy, and Matt snaps. One punch. Silence. A strained apology. He leaves, but the damage lingers. Meanwhile, Fisk is facing demons of his own. He's working through his relationship with Vanessa, following his therapist's advice. But the therapist? She's playing both sides. After her session with Fisk, she spends the evening with a man who just so happens to be Fisk's #1 enemy. Behind closed doors, the mayor is secretly keeping a man named Adam locked away. Adam, Vanessa's former lover, the one who almost tore their marriage apart. And just as all this unfolds, something new and deadly creeps through the shadows of the city. A nameless predator in a mask begins stalking victims, attacking and draining them of blood. New York starts to tremble again. The next morning, Matt's got his own problems. A bank denies him a loan, but as he steps outside, his heightened hearing picks up a whisper. A robbery's about to go down. Instantly, he alerts the police and casually walks back in. Inside, a group of armed men are already taking hostages. They contact Agent Kim, demand 3 armored trucks, and agree to release 2 hostages in exchange. Matt insists the couple with a child be the ones freed. He stays behind. Once he asks to use the restroom, the real show begins. Matt silently takes out one of the robbers, sneaks up on another, and opens the vault using only his ears. Inside isn't cash, it's a gemstone. That's what they're really after. But the twist? One of the hostages is in on the job. The ringleader disguises himself as a cop and slips the gem to a woman in the crowd. Matt catches on fast, chases him down and beats the truth out of him, while the woman discovers she's only holding a candy in a velvet pouch. That same day, the city is shaken by a gruesome discovery. A man's body is found, eyes missing. No prince, no motive, just pure fear left behind. Matt returns to prayer, searching for answers, thinking of his fallen friend, hoping for clarity. Fisk, meanwhile, entertains old friends from his criminal past. They try to talk him down, but he politely reminds them of the $3 million they still owe and kicks them out. Then, another curveball. A city worker bursts into his office, reporting graffiti mocking Fisk painted in actual human blood. DNA tests confirm it's tied to over 60 victims. Fisk calls an emergency meeting. This killer doesn't just slaughter, he leaves messages. Back at Matt's office, he gets a visit from Hector's daughter, the late White Tiger. She wants his help finding people gone missing near 61 abandoned subway stations. Matt refuses. He's a lawyer, not a detective. Fisk, meanwhile, gathers New York's political elite in one room and asks for funding for his new project. But all he gets is cold stares and a chilly will decide what gets done. When he returns home, Vanessa just smiles. You made them feel your power. Now they'll show their hand. The mayor wastes no time. He assembles a new task force, but not the good kind. These aren't heroes with badges, they're the dirtiest cops in the city. Their job? Hunt down vigilantes, which means it's only a matter of time before Matt ends up in their sights. And then, the real race begins. Matt gets a call from Hector's wife. Their daughter is missing. He already knows where she might have gone. Suiting up as Daredevil, he hits the streets and follows the trail to the lair of the Muse, the same killer who paints in blood. The girl is unconscious, blood draining from her. But Matt makes it just in time. He knocks the psycho out and, for the first time in forever, reveals to the victim who he really is. Meanwhile, Fisk has his own brand of fun. He lets the prisoner from the basement out, hands him an axe not to let him go, but for a brutal sparring match. Fisk-style therapy. By morning, everyone knows Daredevil is back. Fisk demands silence, clearly not ready to strike back just yet. Meanwhile, Matt's showering with Heather, but she feels the distance. He's always tired, always somewhere else. And when Cherry finds out Matt's return to the costume, she's done. She quits. Too many promises broken, too many words without action. But there's no time for drama, Matt questions the rescued girl. She remembers the Muse always talked about faces and paintings. A visual-obsessed maniac artist? Makes sense, except for one thing. Fisk remembers when Daredevil destroyed a 10-year criminal operation in just a month. Not a fun memory. Then the police captain brings news. The Muse uses a rare, expensive kind of canvas. Only 12 buyers in New York. One of them? Deep psychological issues. His name, Bastian. And he's already sitting in Heather's office. To thank her, and knock her out right after saying, "You awakened my gift." Matt sneaks into the Muse's lair to gather evidence. On one canvas, he feels it. Heather's face. No time to think. He bolts for her office, but too late. The Muse is already mid-painting. In the chaos, Heather doesn't panic. She unloads her entire clip into him, but collapses from blood loss. Just as Matt catches her and starts first aid, the door bursts open. Fisk's special unit storms in. But Matt's already gone, leaving behind only his unconscious girlfriend and a wrecked office. Later, every news channel will say the Muse killer was taken down by Mayor Fisk's special task force, even though all the blood is on Heather's hands. And so is the guilt. She checks out of life for a bit, but not for long. Meanwhile, Vanessa is playing her own game. She betrays Fisk, leaking his location to rivals, but it's all a trap. The assassin barely walks in before his brains hit the floor. Fisk's security is ruthless and efficient. Then a familiar face returns, Dex, former cop. Traitor, the unhinged man who shot Matt's best friend. He's moved from solitary into the general population. Why and for whom, no one knows yet. Fisk and Vanessa visit Adam, the man who knows too much. He begs, pleads, promises silence. Vanessa says nothing, just pulls the trigger more than once, rekindling her twisted love for her husband. The next morning, someone knocks at Matt's door. A message for Heather. An invitation. And strangely, they found her at Matt's address, which raises way too many questions. The invite? A fundraising gala for Project Fort. Heather hesitates, but Matt's convinced they're being used. She disagrees. At work, his client starts lying within seconds. Matt drops him on the spot. Kirsten, watching him unravel, suggests he visit Dex, who's only willing to speak with Matt. But instead, Matt heads to the bar from episode 1. The owner wants to rebuild, but refuses to take Fisk's money. "This place is memory," she says. Sherry drops by too. They talk. Right now, Daredevil can't show his face. Fisk is building an empire on wiping out masked vigilantes. Then a key detail slips out. Foggy already knew he won the case. That's what he was celebrating that night. Which means his murder wasn't random. It was a hit. Someone had something to hide. Matt visits Dex, the man who pulled the trigger. Dex plays games. "You want answers? Give me freedom." It works. Matt loses it, beats him, and frames him for bashing his own head against a table. Meanwhile, Heather's at Fisk's event. Matt never warned her, didn't call, didn't show, until he does, like nothing's wrong. She calls him out, but Matt is already tuning in, eavesdropping. Fisk is threatening a businessman, promising to sick his group on him, the very police squad that cuts off vigilante heads. The man walks off, stoic. One of the waiters, a reporter, is caught filming, which is strictly forbidden. The commissioner storms in to stop things, but Officer Powell steps up. No words, just plunges the man's hand into boiling oil. This task force? They don't answer to the commissioner anymore. Only the mayor. In prison, a breakout begins. Dex takes out the guards, disguises himself, and slips out with the flow of real officers. Fisk finds out too late Dex is already inside. But so is Matt. After eavesdropping on Fisk's security, he finally pieces it together. It wasn't Fisk who ordered Foggy's death. It was Vanessa. Matt and Vanessa cross paths. They switch partners. Their conversation is sharp, veiled on the edge. Matt tells her everything, to her face. But then, a click, somewhere nearby. Dex. He's got Fisk in his sights. Matt throws himself into the line of fire. The shot rings out. Blood. Chaos. Fisk escapes with Vanessa, while on the floor lies a man bleeding out. The same man who spent his life protecting people, even the ones who never deserved it. Then we flash back 1 year earlier. Vanessa herself personally freed Dex from prison. That's where it all started. Fisk decides it's time to finish what he started. He plans to lock down the entire city, track down Dex, wipe out every vigilante in one night, and quietly take Matt out during the chaos. Just another casualty. Looks like an accident. And calmly, in the chair opposite, he tells Sheila, his right hand, to go home. Says he can handle the rest alone. But not everyone's buying this charade. The commissioner's tired of being a pawn, and he starts finding common ground with Sheila. Meanwhile, a hitman waits just outside Matt's hospital room. The power goes out across the city. The door bursts open, and the room is empty. Matt is gone. Silent. Vanished. But back at his apartment, Frank Castle is waiting. The Punisher is ready to wipe out his fans for good. As Fisk's squad crashes in, Frank handles things his way. Efficient. Brutal. Unforgiving. When the dust settles, one of the dirty cops turns out to be the one who killed Hector with the same kind of bullet. But before they can interrogate him, a grenade crashes through the window. Matt and Frank dive out, land hard on a car roof, and are scooped up by someone unexpected, Karen. She's back after disappearing for months, still hurt, still angry. But she came because Frank called. The old crew is back together. And when Matt tells them Vanessa was behind Foggy's murder, Karen remembers the old case file is still buried in the archives, which means they have a shot. And this time, she'll be his eyes. While the city descends into chaos, Fisk's men go full force. His protege storms into the council and lays it out. Either you back the Safe City project, or you're dead. The project is simple. Steal a purse, get gunned down in the street. Human rights? Forget them. Meanwhile, Matt and Karen, digging through old archives, stumble on the big one. The port Fisk wants to turn into a gold mine. Doesn't belong to New York. In fact, it's not even U.S. territory. No taxes, no laws. The millions Vanessa used to launder there are about to become billions. Hotels, casinos, lawless playground masked as reform. Fisk isn't sleeping either. When he finds out the commissioner and Sheila struck a secret deal, he kidnaps the old man, drags him to the port, and stages a public execution right in front of his forces. The message is clear. Step out of line, and you're next. At the same time, Punisher realizes the cops have completely lost it. He goes hunting to clean up his fan club. But they're not idiots. They catch him, try to bring him over to their side, and when he refuses, they beat their idol within an inch of his life. Matt closes in on the port, but Karen stops him. If you charge in now, you'll burn. You need to outsmart Fisk. The next morning, the mayor launches a fresh PR blitz. He invites Heather and offers her a new role to oversee the moral well-being of the administration. She agrees. And, like magic, the lights come back on in the city. Only now they shine on a new kind of order. One where people who cross the Holy Mare vanish into prison cells, leaving the public none the wiser, while Fisk stands before them with a clean face and bloody sleeves. If you've made it this far, you're as much a hero as Matt Murdock. Support the channel by subscribing. All the best, and I'll see you in the next recaps.